If your cat does this with its tail, pay attention. Cats are among the most enigmatic creatures that share our domestic lives, simultaneously familiar and mysterious. Unlike dogs, who broadcast their emotions with full body enthusiasm, cats communicate in subtler registers. A flick of an ear, a slow blink, a particular quality of silence. Yet of all the expressive tools in a cat's behavioral repertoire, none is more richly informative than the tail. To observe a cat's tail with genuine attention is to gain fluency in a language that most owners never fully learn. One that carries within its arcs and angles a continuous, honest commentary on how a cat truly feels. The first and perhaps most universally recognized signal is the upright vertical tail, a flag of confidence and goodwill. When a cat approaches you with its tail held straight up, sometimes with the very tip curled forward like a question mark, it is extending a greeting rooted in kittenhood. Young cats raise their tails when approaching their mothers, soliciting care and recognition. When an adult cat does the same toward a human, the emotional parallel is striking. You are being accorded the warmth normally reserved for deeply trusted figures. This is not a pose cats adopt casually or performatively. If your cat greets you this way at the door, it is not mere habit. It is affection rendered in posture. The puffed or bristled tail tells a radically different story. When a cat's tail expands to what looks like a bottle brush, every hair standing upright, the animal is responding to a perceived threat. This reaction, called piloerection, is involuntary, governed by the autonomic nervous system rather than conscious choice. The cat is making itself look larger, a bluff display inherited from wild ancestors, for whom size could mean survival. The important nuance here is that a puffed tail does not always signal aggression. It can just as easily indicate fear. Context matters enormously. A cat that has puffed its tail after a sudden loud noise and retreated to a corner is frightened. A cat that puffs its tail while arching its back and facing another animal is preparing to defend itself. Reading the tail in isolation is like reading a sentence without the surrounding paragraph. The slowly swishing or lashing tail occupies a wide and consequential emotional spectrum. A gentle, rhythmic sway, subtle and almost meditative, often accompanies a cat that is focused. On a bird outside the window, on the erratic path of a fly, on a toy you are dangling. This is the tail of concentration, and it suggests the cat's mind is fully occupied. But as the amplitude and speed of that motion increase, so does the urgency of the emotional state. A tail that beats sharply back and forth, particularly one moving in large, impatient arcs, is a reliable warning signal. This cat is overstimulated, irritated, or both. Many owners have learned this lesson the hard way. Stroking a purring cat, feeling the peace of the moment, only to be bitten when they failed to notice that the tail had been telegraphing distress for several seconds. The tail, in this sense, is more honest than the purr, which can accompany both contentment and stress in different contexts. When the tail speaks in rapid, lashing strokes, believe it. The low tail, held below the level of the back or tucked toward the belly, is a posture of submission, anxiety, or illness. A cat that habitually carries its tail low when it did not do so before may be experiencing physical discomfort that warrants veterinary attention. More commonly, the low or tucked tail appears in situations of social pressure, unfamiliar environments, the presence of a dominant animal, or interactions with strangers who approach too quickly or too directly. This cat is not at ease. Giving it space rather than reassurance often serves it better, because forced comfort can feel like additional pressure. The tail, wrapped around the body, curled neatly alongside a sitting or resting cat, is frequently misread as simple tidiness. And tidiness, it may partly be, But this posture also serves as a mild emotional withdrawal. The cat is settled, not particularly interested in interaction, content in its own company. It is not necessarily unhappy. It is simply not seeking engagement. Respecting this posture, rather than interrupting it with uninvited petting, goes a long way toward building the kind of trust that eventually produces more expressive and open body language. Perhaps the most quietly eloquent tail behavior is the slow, gentle rap. A cat curling its tail around your leg, your arm, or even another animal in the household. This is contact initiated entirely on the cat's terms, and its softness distinguishes it sharply from the warning lash or the anxious tuck. It is a gesture of belonging, of claiming and being claimed simultaneously. Cats are territorial creatures, and touch is one of the ways they map their world. When a cat wraps its tail around you, it is not merely being friendly in a generic sense, it is making a specific, deliberate statement about the relationship between you. What makes all of this particularly compelling is the fact that tail language is not performed for human benefit. Cats did not evolve these signals to communicate with us. They evolved them to communicate with other cats, and we have inherited the privilege of being read by them as social partners, worthy of those signals. When we pay attention, when we learn to distinguish the greeting tail from the warning tail, the focused swish from the irritated lash, we move from being passive recipients of cat behavior to genuine participants in a relationship. The tail does not lie. It does not soften difficult emotions or exaggerate pleasant ones. It simply tells the truth, moment by moment, in a language that has been spoken long before humans thought to listen. If your cat does something with its tail, pay attention, not merely because it is interesting, but because that cat is speaking to you. And very few things in a relationship are more worth honoring than the effort to be understood.